Till now, we have looked into various components of IoT ecosystem. We have looked into different kind of architectures. We have seen some of the case studies, and one of the things we have been repeatedly talking about is the cloud system. All the data goes to the backend system, which is on cloud. So in this section, we are going to talk about the different components which are available on cloud, and we will primarily take example of AWS cloud. AWS cloud has the maximum number of services. It is the most popular one. Even Google Cloud and Azure also have plenty of them. So there is not too much of difference between AWS, Google and Azure. But for our understanding, we will try to take example from AWS. We have something called IoT Core service. IoT Core is the bridge between IoT devices and the cloud services. Let's try to understand this with an example. So on one side, you have IoT devices. These devices primarily collect data, and they can also take some kind of action depending upon the command from the command center. And then on the cloud side, we have many different kind of services. We have databases, we have NoSQL databases. This is symbol of DynamoDB, which can store massive amount of data. Then you have different kind of services. This is for stream processing. This is for S3 storage. This is the bucket storage. This is the compute engine. You can have different kind of applications running on the compute engine. This is serverless computing, which is again a compute engine where you can run different kind of applications. So there are many different kind of services which are there on the backend system. And then you have the IoT devices. And AWS IoT Core. AWS IoT Core is the bridge between backend services and the devices. So devices will send data to the backend service using IoT Core. All these devices will send data to the IoT Core, and then from IoT Core, we can build pipelines to send data to the respective component. We will again take a use case of a hospital management system, and we will see what are the different kind of components which can be used in the cloud to do various kind of data processing coming from the IoT devices. Let's look into different kind of services which is available in cloud, which can help to manage the massive amount of data produced by IoT systems, and which can help to process that data. So we talked about IoT Core. In AWS, we call it AWS IoT Core. This is the key component which is bridge between IoT devices and the cloud services. Just like AWS IoT Core, which we just saw. This is the AWS IoT Core. On one side, you have all the devices, and other side, you have the cloud services. AWS IoT Core, it integrates the devices with the cloud services. So similar to AWS IoT Core, we also have similar service on Azure and Google Cloud. On Google Cloud, it's called Cloud IoT Core. Azure, it's called Azure IoT Hub. Then in the cloud, we have databases, both RDBMS and NoSQL databases, which can be used to store the massive amount of data which is coming from the IoT devices. In real life, you can have thousands, millions of devices, and AWS IoT Core is very easily scalable to cater to millions of devices. All this data which is coming from so many sensors, so many IoT devices can be inserted very easily into the backend system. And most of the time, NoSQL databases are used, although you can use RDBMS, depends upon case also, but majority of the time, NoSQL databases are used to store the data which is coming from IoT devices. We also have data warehouses like Redshift on AWS. So we have block storage, and we also have data warehouse on cloud. So all these services are available in cloud, which can simply be leveraged. And in case of AWS, we will just see example. In case of AWS, it provides a very simple way to build a pipeline which can simply integrate the various components with some kind of drag and drop or UI feature without even writing any code as such. You can very simply build a pipeline which can help you to flow data between different components. Then all this data which is coming, we have to store this data, but then we also have to process this data. And there are two kind of data processing. Number one is stream processing. This is the real-time processing. This is called stream processing. For that, we have stream processing engines like Kinesis and Kafka. Kafka is a open source stream processing engine and Kinesis is a native service from AWS for stream processing. Stream processing helps you to do real time processing of the data. There are many things which needs to be monitored and alert needs to be notified in real time, and for that real time processing is required. The second type of processing is called batch processing. In batch processing, we accumulate data for certain duration and then we do analytics on that data. Typically, this kind of processing is done to look at the trend, to do some predictive maintenance, to bring in operational efficiency by analyzing data and taking data driven smart decisions. We have frameworks like AWS SageMaker, which can help you to do different kind of analytics. You can write code to do analytics. You can run your artificial intelligence and machine learning models on SageMaker. So SageMaker basically provide you a very convenient ecosystem for doing the batch processing. If you want to do batch processing using Spark engine, it can be very easily done on SageMaker. If you want to do processing using AI ML analytics, that can be very easily done in the AWS SageMaker. Then we have notification services like email and SMS notification. So in AWS, we have something called SNS, Simple Notification Service. And using this notification service, you can send email or SMS in case of any alerts. So these are some of the cloud components which can be integrated with IoT ecosystem for the backend processing. When you are working on IoT project, cloud integration would be one of the key area where people will have to work. So you have to work on device integration, you have to work on network integration, you have to work on the cloud integration. In cloud integration, it's primarily about big data management and analytics. They are the two important things in cloud integration. Managing the big data and analytics. They are the two important things.